Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Good afternoon and welcome to Talking Politics. I am your host, Robert Press. I write for the Bronx Chronicle, as you can see by my official City of New York press card. I also contribute to the Co-op City News and the Parkchester Times. The latter, like this show, is owned by Muslim media. I must say the opinions expressed on this show is that of the host or any guest and not necessarily Muslim media. Now, I believe, Mr. Producer, I have my guest right now waiting for me, who is on the campaign trail. Can we bring on my guest right now?
Hey, Bob.
Hi, welcome. I see you're out in the street campaigning.
Yes, I am.
Now, early voting is pretty low in the Bronx. Only 5,097 people voted through 6 days. And I know that this is the hottest race in the Bronx. So I see, where are you right now exactly?
I am I'm at the corner of St. Francis de Chantal. They had an early dismissal, so I came over here to hand out some cards to some of the parents and was talking to them, telling them to get out and early vote as quickly as possible.
That seems to be the highest number of votes coming from that poll site in the 13th Council District. Mm-hmm. Now, your opponent, and I'm going to show this. This is a copy of a mortgage statement. It's the real estate property transfer of Marjorie Velazquez and Jeff Lynch, her husband, for a property in Country Club, which is 6/23/2021. They bought the property. Now, however, this is from the Board of Elections, dated April 11th, 23, where Marjorie Velazquez says her address is on East Tremont Avenue. Now, the mortgage deed, and you've gotten a mortgage, obviously, says that that's your prime residence.
Yes.
And when you vote, you're supposed to be voting from your prime residence.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
I'm wondering why nobody is looking into this as whether she committed bank fraud as a former city council member who was put in jail for committing bank fraud on a loan application, or is she committing election fraud, which, again, the U.S. Attorney's Office should be looking at, especially the Bronx District Attorney. But the Bronx District Attorney appeared on the same petition as Marjorie Velazquez. And as a matter of fact, people are talking, Jamal Bowman, here is a campaign piece from Marjorie Velazquez, and you could see Jamal Bowman as one of his supporters. Now, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, I call him now Fireman Jamal Bowman, and I hope his opponent, who may be George Latimer, and I may be talking about that later in the program, so I don't want to take away time from you.
Okay.
Let me just ask you a question. Why are you running against Marjorie Velazquez? Go ahead. Let me let you talk.
All right. So I'm born, raised, grew up in this neighborhood. This neighborhood is my heart. When me and my husband wanted to raise our child, we couldn't think of a better place to raise her than here in the Bronx. He grew up in Morris Park. I grew up in Throgs Neck, and we wanted her to have a similar life experience. So we bought our house where it was because we knew the Metro North station was coming. We were very excited about that. But then all of a sudden, they started with the Rikers Release Program, the Just Home Initiative, which would be 500 feet from our house. And then we started to see all these overdevelopment projects coming our way as well. And I reached out to multiple elected officials at the time of the Just Home Initiative was leaked to the community, not even told to the community. And they didn't have to have answers, but they should have at least entertained, returned phone calls, or had some compassion when it came to this project. And they gave us none of that. And then around the same time, they were bringing the tent cities into Orchard Beach. And it's a snowball effect. And I just was like, who is representing us? Because whoever it is not the proper representation, does not share the same values and views as me, my neighbors, my family, and my friends. And that's why I really did step up to do this. I want to fight and advocate for our community the way I've advocated and fought for my patients for 24 years. What are you showing me?
What I'm showing now is from the New York Post about Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz, a story that the lawmaker doesn't want minorities in the rich neighborhood's public school. Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz had his chief of staff sitting inside PS24 one day, checking registrations and seeing if people were right to go into that school. And again, this is where it says the lawmaker didn't want minorities. And Jeffrey Dinowitz was out on the trail with Marjorie Velazquez, your opponent, yesterday. And he is a big supporter of Marjorie Velazquez. I have, now here's one from the Daily News that's coming up about the assistant principal. It says lawsuit proceeds for whistleblower claiming discrimination conspiracy at Bronx School. What happened was, this was the assistant principal, Manny Verdi, who basically broke the story about Jeffrey Dinowitz not wanting minority children at PS24. I was privy to asking the superintendent of the district at the time, what about him? And she said, we should never have told him not to apply for the open principal's job because he wanted to be principal of the school since he was the AP. And he received $278,000 from the Department of Education in the lawsuit, which shows that he was in the right. Now, I have one more thing to show you. This is a picture of a Porsche, a black Porsche, parked right in front of the Bronx Democratic Party organization. And you could see there's a hydrant it's parked right in front of, blocking a hydrant. And now when we look closer, this is the license plate. And let's see if I can put it up right. There we go. That's the license plate. Maybe you can't see it.
No.
Make it a little bigger. Now, I understand that Councilwoman Marjorie Velazquez was driving around in a Porsche. I don't know if this is the Porsche that she was driving around in, but, this is what, partially the Democratic Party has everybody coming to their office right on Williamsbridge Road, down the road, actually, from your office. It's, about 8 blocks away from your office, where your campaign office is.
I mean, you got to follow the rules and regulations of the streets. You can't break the law. If that's her car, that's not really a good thing.
So, I mean,
we don't know. So
now let me ask you a question about the proposed casino for Ferry Point. Are you in favor of that casino? Because your opponent is in favor of that because, and let me just explain why, the lawyer for the Bronx Democratic Party, Stanley Schlein, is brokering that deal. And for that deal to happen, it's parkland. So it would have to go before the assembly to alienate the parkland to make it a casino. And who just happens to be the Speaker of the Assembly? The former Bronx Democratic Party chair, Assemblyman Carl Hastie of the Bronx. So should they get, that's a done deal, should they get the license. So are you in favor of that casino or not?
I'm not in favor of the casino. I'm not in favor of the casino for multiple reasons. It's going to be a traffic and environmental nightmare. If there's over 11,000 cars traveling over that bridge a day, how many more cars do you think that's going to go over that bridge per day if we have a casino? And it's going to be, supposedly this project is going to be, quote, bigger than the Yankee Stadium project. And that's from the CEO of Bally's. So I cannot even imagine how many cars there are going to be. And we have the highest rates of asthma in the entire city. So, I mean, what is that going to do for our children and our community? It's not acceptable. And it's not going to work. I feel like it's going to decrease our property value, depress our community. More crime is going to come our way. And to me, it doesn't make sense. And we're really not going to see any money of it. Any money that the city makes is going to go towards the city is going to decide. It's not going to go to Throg's Neck. It's not going to go to Country Club. It's not going to go to Ferry Point Park. It's going to go to the city, and they will be the ones that are going to decide where the money is distributed. And, not for nothing, with this migrant crisis that we're having, they could really use that money to help fix that problem.
Well, let me just say one thing to you. I know you're going to be leaving to go back on the campaign trail. As the vice chair, now the chairman of the Committee of 100 Democrats, since our former chairman, Ricky Martinez, passed away, I am now the chairman of the Committee of 100 Democrats. As the chairman of the Committee of 100 Democrats, it is now based in the 80th Assembly District in the 13th Council District, where I live. The Committee of 100 Democrats is now endorsing Christy Maramato for City Council in the 13th Council District. And we are urging fellow Democrats to vote for Christy Maramato on row C, the Conservative Party line, because I understand you have both the Republican and Conservative line.
Both lines, yes.
But, and again, I'm going to repeat, the Committee of 100 Democrats is endorsing Christy Maramato for City Council in the 13th City Council District. And we urge Democrats who are not happy with what's going on in the 13th City Council District to vote for Christy Maramato on the Conservative Party line. Now, the motto of the Committee of 100 Democrats is get the rascals out of office. The need to vote your opponent out of office because we consider her one of the rascals, and I'm not going to mention her name. And Christy, I want to thank you for coming on to the show. I know you have to get back to your campaigning. And
busy couple of days coming ahead. And I thank you for always giving me a platform and for people getting to meet me through your show, because I think you were one of the first interviews that I did. And thank you. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Let me go to my regular programming now.
And get out and vote. You got to get out and vote. Get out. Early voting.
And it's nice and sunny out today. The weather will get close to 60. Saturday, the temperature should break 60 again with a mix of sunshine and clouds. Sunday looks to be the best day with the temperature possibly getting close to 65 with bright sunny skies. Monday again, it should be about 60 with clear skies, but the rain could come back in for Tuesday. As I mentioned before, and I'll give you the numbers, as for the 6 days of early voting, 46,068 people have voted citywide. In Manhattan, 14,016 have voted. In the Bronx, 5,097. In Brooklyn, 11,923. Queens, 12,085. And Staten Island, 2,947. Now, Brooklyn and the Bronx have the two biggest races. And for Brooklyn to be third in the voting and the Bronx to have not even double the amount of voters that were in Staten Island. Staten Island has, 2 council districts, and we have 8.5 here in the Bronx. It's amazing that people aren't coming out to the Bronx, but maybe that's because Democrats are staying home and not voting for the incumbent. Now, on to the Israeli war. Since the October 7th surprise attack on Israel by Hamas and subsequent response by Israelis military in Gaza, it appears that Hezbollah and Israeli forces have exchanged fire daily along Israel's northern border. And now what's happening is the U.S. is calling for a ceasefire, which the Israeli army continues to weed out Hamas leaders and finding the tunnel system used by Hamas where weapons are also being stored. The death toll so far is nearing 10,000. As Israel says, 1,400 people were killed in the Hamas attack. 240 are still being held hostage, including 37 Americans who were either killed or still being held hostage as Israel continues to bombard the densely populated Palestine enclave, but is also pushing forward with its ground attack. Now, since October 17th, Iranian-backed militia have carried out 28 rocket and drone attacks on U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria. And in response, President Joe Biden has ordered an airstrike last week against a weapons depot in eastern Syria. But the rocket and drone attacks have continued. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has suggested the U.S. may carry out more bombing raids to deter Iran's proxies. If the U.S. hits back harder, it's unclear if pro-Iranian militias will up the ante. Reminiscent of the events that led up to World War I, there is a growing risk that one actor's attempts to deter an enemy couldn't be interpreted as an act of aggression, analysts say, or that one stray rocket causing mass casualties could set the region ablast. The danger is not that Iran is going to declare war, but some field commissioner is going to do something stupid. Now, the U.S. House passed a $14.3 billion aid package for Israel, in addition to military help to fight Hamas, terrorists in the Gaza Strip. The aid bill is passed by the House by a vote of 226 to 196, which is the first House bill passed by new Speaker Mike Johnson. As for what's happening here, we are getting threats against Jewish people, and a Cornell student was arraigned for allegedly posting threatening anti-Semitic messages. The student, Patrick Day, a junior studying computer science at Cornell University, is in the College of Engineering, was arraigned Wednesday on federal charges of posting threats to kill or injure anyone being injure using interstate communications in the Northern District of New York and Syracuse. Dye waived his right to his immediate trial and is being held in the Broome County Jail awaiting the hearing in 2 weeks. He was charged with interstate communication under Title 18 S 875, which prohibits the transmission of any communication containing any threat to injure another person. Over the past weekend, threatening anti-Semitic posts appeared on GeekRank. I'll get to the community board in a moment, or towards the end of the show. And the posts were threatening Jewish students with graphic violence and threatened a mass shooting at 104 West, the campus center for Jewish living and the kosher dining hall. In a recorded interview with the Cornell Police Department with FBI Special Agent Michael Wren, Dye admits to making the GeekRank post. Now,
do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely finish you.
Welcome back to Talking Politics. Let me get to George Santos. There was a vote yesterday on expelling George Santos from the Congress. The vote, though, was 213 opposing the resolution, with 179 members voting for it, and more than 30 Democrats even voted against expelling him. Now, people are lining up to run against George Santos, and we'll start off with Republicans. There is George Santos himself running for re-election, despite what's happening to him. As far as the campaign financing filing, George Santos is negative 16,500 in receipts for the latest campaign filing. Kellen Curry, an Air Force veteran, announced that he would take on Santos in early April. He wants to restore honesty and integrity to the district. As what his campaign website says, he's raised slightly under $350,000 since launching, including $150,000 in the most recent quarter. There is Mike Saporino, a retired police detective, who announced that he would challenge Santos in late July. He has brought in over $500,000 since launching. $300,000, though, of that came from a loan he gave to his campaign. Others who have announced is Gregory Hatch, an Air Force veteran. He announced in mid-August. He has so far raised $220,000. Then there is Daniel Norber. He's one of the few candidates who lives in the small part of the district that is in Queens. He's a former member of the Israeli military. He said he has took particular issue with Santos's lies about being Jewish. He has loaned his campaign $150,000 and otherwise has raised $50,000. Joe Toes, whose campaign describes him as a political outsider, announced his campaign also at the end of August. He's raised so far $46,000. There is Peter Chrysoftis, a young resident of Long Island who graduated from college in 2020 during the pandemic. He was a former intern for Lee Zeldin in Congress. His website says that he is running to prevent the federal government from destroying the liberties of Long Islanders. He has not recorded any fundraising yet. There is Thomas Charles Ludwig, a resident of Farmingdale, a retired Special Forces officer who announced his campaign in early October. He has loaned his campaign $7,000 and has not recorded any other contributions. As far as the Libertarian Party, Ryan Galata is so far the only candidate not running as part of either major party or an independent. He has not recorded any fundraising either. As far as Democrats go, Tom Suozzi, the former congressman, has returned and says he wants a seat in the House back. Suozzi gave up his seat last year in order to launch a failed bid for governor against Kathy Hochul. Given his long history in the district and position formally representing the district, he will likely emerge as one of the front runners in the Democratic primary. Since opening his campaign account, Suozzi has recorded $500 in fundraising, but ended the quarter with $58,000 on hand, thanks to leftovers from his 2022 campaign. Josh Laughlin is also trying his hand at Congress after losing a five-way Democratic primary in 2022, when former Tom Suozzi left the seat open. He has already brought in slightly under $20,000 in this last quarter, raising his total raise to $573,000. Anna Kaplan, the former state senator, also is running for that seat. She has over $788,000, including a $190,000 loan that she gave to her campaign. Zach Malamed is a Jewish activist who entered the race in May and has raised eyebrow when reporting $225,000 within 24 hours of launching his campaign. So far, his total is $722,000 in his campaign coffers. Others are William Murray, a professor of legal studies at St. John's University, who announced in March. He has raised $69,000 so far. Others are Steve Behar, who lives also in the Queens Park. He has described himself as a progressive capitalist. He ran in the city council against Councilmember Linda Lee in 2021 when the seat was open. He has no fundraising yet. Scott Livingston has also filed. He has recorded about $122,000, but doesn't appear to have any present campaign presence online. Austin Cheng officially lost his campaign late in September. He noted he was the only Asian American in the race. He has raised $400,000, and most of it is his own money. Darius Radzis is a local journalist who filed to run but does not appear to have an official campaign. And the one independent candidate is Matt Napo, who also declared, but again, he has no money. As far as Congress also, it appears that, I almost said former Congressman Jamal Bowman, but Congressman Jamal Bowman appears to be having a primary from the Westchester County Executive, George Latimer. Primaries are a useful way to shift the course within a party and introduce members to new ideas and coalitions. Other times they can be a vehicle to fight internal culture wars. Above all, they aren't cheap. Bowman, a Democrat from Yonkers, has come under fire recently for his comments on the Israeli-Hamas war. His past criticism of Israel, recent calls for a ceasefire has fed the push for Westchester County Executive George Latimer to primary the two-term incumbent in 2024. While Bowman's district isn't as competitive as the Patrick Mahoney-Mike Lawler race, where Patrick Mahoney beat former state senator Alessandra Biaggi and forced Democrat, what was his name? Let me get his name here. He forced another Democrat to run in a different district when his district, Mahoney's district, and this other Democrat was joined together. Now, as far as Jay Jacobs, his comments are it's a democracy, so people have the right to run. Now, where I take issue is in frivolous primaries when you don't have a chance of winning, or where you believe that the candidate is challenging if he or she wins, can't win the general, meaning that they can win the primary maybe, but are going to lose in a general election. Now, as I said, John Maloney won over Biaggi in 2022. Jacobs said that she lost overwhelmingly because it was the wrong district for her and not her constituency. He added that progressive Democrats do well there in low-hanging fruit, meaning the New York City area, and it is proven regularly in primaries that most voters prefer moderates. Now, an interesting note that happened yesterday is that Mayor Adams suddenly canceled his plans to go to Washington. He got off the plane, canceled all his events yesterday, and today he's already canceled his first event as FBI agents raided the Brooklyn home of a key Adams campaign consultant, Brianna Suggs. According to source and published reports, Suggs raised money for Adams in the 2021 campaign. There appears to be international influence or influence peddling of Mayor Adams, because it appears this all happened, that money was raised by Suggs right after the mayor visited Turkey. And Turkey is the suspected country of this influence peddling. Suggs, whose professional ties with Adams date back to Brooklyn Borough Hall, where she interned in 2017. It says that she raised $18.4 million for Adams' 2021 campaign, and which she has claimed credit in city records for raking in at least $900,000 so far for his 2025 re-election bid. As Suggs is currently involved in Adams' 2025 campaign and has personally contributed over $1,000 to Adams' campaign record show. The raid came the same day as Adams canceled his trip, and it is unclear if Adams is related to the investigation. The New York Times reported that Suggs was questioned during the raid. Campaign spokesman people could not be immediately reached, and the last-minute cancellation after Adams posted a video of himself on board a plane on Twitter to the national capital. He said, "We are heading to D.C. to meet with our congressional delegation and the White House to address this real issue with the asylum and migrant issue in the city." And all of a sudden, he canceled everything. No arrests were made or indictments given, and Mayor Adams was not involved in any testimony. He just returned to the city. Now, ahead of this close election here in the 13th Council District, it appears that the Brooklyn Democratic chair has turned on her Democratic City Council member, Justin Brannan, and he is waging war on two fronts against his opponent, Ari Kagan, who's hoping to unseat him. Again, in Brooklyn, those two council seats will merge into one, so the council members are running against each other. And the Assembly member, Rodney Bichette Hemlin, the head of the Brooklyn Democratic Party, has basically released a blistering statement in response to a New York Post story rehashing old harassment allegations against Brannan. "We have received a barrage of concerns and disturbing allegations against Councilman Justin Brannan for harassing and tormenting an staff member who had autism and who was under Brannan's supervision at the time. The chilling accusations, which include locking the staffer in the basement and leaving decapitated teddy bears on his desk, was settled out of court for a settlement of $850,000. Some have asked for Justin Brannan's resignation, which I have not taken a position on," Bichette says, "as we will wait for all the facts to come to light." Brennan's campaign spokesman, Ian Brown, fired back with a statement accusing Bichette of slander. In response, Bichette accused the Brannan campaign of attempting to silence a whistleblower. This is not the first time that the Brooklyn Democratic Party, has been embroiled in campaign controversy. The chairperson before, Assemblywoman Rodney Bichette Hemley, was unseated, and since the former Brooklyn party chair was unseated and Assemblywoman Bichette was placed in the seat, since the party is led by a member of the Assembly, I wonder if Bronx Assembly Speaker of the Assembly, Carl Hastie, who has the 83rd Assembly District here in the Bronx, has anything to do with this, which is the Brooklyn Day of Action for Marjorie Velasquez. It is coming on November 5th at 2 p.m., where the Brooklyn Democratic Party will be coming to the Bronx to help get out the vote and phone bank and canvass for Marjorie Velasquez. They are leaving their own Brooklyn Democratic Party candidate to come and bring up here. And also what's happening is Saturday, it is reported that Governor Kathy Hochul, her Lieutenant Governor Delgado, and Attorney General Letitia James are coming here to help campaign for Marjorie Velasquez, because it's reported she is in trouble and is in real danger of losing this election to Christy Maramato. And I've been asked for my prediction on this. Right now, it is still too close, and I suspect that Christy Maramato will win. It is not known exactly how much, but I believe that Christy Maramato will be the winner, and hopefully the Committee of 100 Democrat endorsement will be the turning point. Now, as far as Community Board 11 goes, they had a meeting last night of the Land Use and Housing Committee. It was a review of the City of Yes presentation on economic development and not housing. The housing presentation will come sometime in April, we were told. I was at the meeting. I'm a committee member, community committee member of the Housing Committee. What this was, it says that right now, and Morris Park Avenue, Williamsburg Road, and White Plains Road were mentioned, that one side of the street is a C1 zoning, the other side is C2. What that means is one side of the street has housing above the stores, the other side doesn't. What they are doing, they are looking to make it all C2, which would allow for housing on both sides of the street in the commercial overlays. It goes back to what was happening in the 1950s and 1960s, when the one side of the street had the apartments built and then the stores underneath. Sometimes that is good because people then can just go downstairs to the stores. Other times it may be bad because if a store knows that the people in the apartment building will come down to them, they may raise their prices and you won't have a competitive meeting. However, the meeting last night ran smoothly, no problems. And hopefully the rest of the meetings, the Community Board 11, will run as smooth as it was. And I'm going to end the show there and say congratulations to Housing Chair Hazel Mura and congratulations to Land Use Chair Ken Gelnick on running such a great meeting. And thank you for watching the show. Go out and vote. And there's early voting today, Saturday, and Sunday. There is no voting on Monday. Tuesday is election day. And as I said before, as chairman of the Committee of 100 Democrats, we have endorsed Christy Maramato on the Conservative Party line, row C. So please go out and vote for Christy Maramato. Thank you.
Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with